I've been watching several altcoin analysts that recently have been saying XRP, as well as a couple of others, are actually poised to 10x almost instantly. And I'm going to talk about one of the reasons why specifically XRP could 10x when this happens. And not only that, we have some information about the case, the SEC versus Ripple, some of the interrogatory answers that the SEC has provided back to Ripple versus what they're actually telling Fox Business Charles Gasparino, what they're saying and why they're basically completely opposite, and what outside attorney Jeremy Hogan thinks and why the SEC might be shifting their answers a little bit because they might be on the losing end. And also, I just read the Biden administration came out and announced that it's going after some targeted, specific actions in the cryptocurrency world related to the ransomware attacks that happened earlier this year. I'm going to tell you what some of the things were discussed and why it shows how absolutely clueless and out of touch a lot of them are. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, we are covering the Ripple versus SEC case, along with other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if you want to follow along with any of those topics, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, and if you want to support a channel like this, you can go ahead and do two things. Number one, smash the thumbs up button, and number two, watch the video all the way to the end. It really helps out supporting a channel like this. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. And with that, let's jump into it. So I'm going to start with some news that the Biden administration just came out with, announcing that they were going after some kind of sanctions in the cryptocurrency world related to the ransomware attacks that happened earlier this year. So earlier this year, there was certain sectors, certain big businesses that were attacked with ransomware. It takes over your computer and your data, and it basically forces you to make a payment in order to get access to your data. Well, the hackers in this case were using cryptocurrencies as the forms of payment, and they do that because they know it's extremely difficult to get it back. I'm not going to go into details of how the US got most of the ransom back from the gas pipeline attack earlier this year. Basically, they tricked the hackers into allowing their computers to give up the password. But in any case, this seems to me that there's a lot of people urging the government to say something. And to me, this screams, listen, we should do something, we should say something, but we really have no idea what. So according to the article that I read, even people inside of this information said they were kicking around ideas of banning cryptocurrencies or even banning certain cryptocurrencies. Like that would even be possible. It really just shows how out of touch they are with something that they're not in full control of. And of course, this article followed that up with they would have no idea how to do that. So they're actually talking about doing specific targeted actions and involving some sort of sanctions towards cryptocurrencies or how it actually relates to ransom payments. And ultimately, they didn't even give a suggestion about how they would go about it because they have absolutely no idea. That's why this screams to me that they're just trying to say something out there to make it look to the public like they're doing something about this. And if you follow crypto, this is almost laughable. But if you don't follow crypto, this might actually sound like, well, hey, at least our government's right on top of it. And speaking of our government being on top of things, with the case of the SEC versus Ripple, there's a few things that I want to talk about. So number one, this is what I was talking about earlier in my video, that some of these altcoin analysts now feel that XRP is one of a few coins could essentially 10x extremely quickly. Some said instantly, some said by the end of the year. And honestly, I think it could be higher by the end of the year if we get some clarity with this SEC case. But nonetheless, they think part of it is because even though business is booming for Ripple internationally, in the US, it's still suppressed, largely because of this SEC case. Now, what's going on with the US that would help essentially 10x XRP almost instantly is because this case is really preventing institutional adoption, corporate adoption, and public disclosure of such. Now, as you might know, towards the beginning of the year when Elon Musk famously announced that Tesla is accepting Bitcoin for payment on all Teslas, and that other companies, namely MicroStrategy, continues to add Bitcoin to its balance sheets, those are all things that help Bitcoin because it gets it out into the mainstream media, builds trust, credibility, and just brings eyeballs to that. Well, with XRP, that doesn't exist at all. There's no institutions or companies that are actually going to come out and say that they're using XRP or they're going to be buying XRP or adding it to their balance sheets or doing anything of the such. In fact, any news that really comes out about XRP, it either comes from Ripple itself announcing key partners, which they did add another key partner recently, or it has to be found through essentially YouTube investigators that find XRP being involved in different patents or different company white papers or different financial documents that come out that show that there are corporate teams now building out cryptocurrency teams that are going to be using essentially XRP. So that's one of the things that after this SEC case, all of that suppressed information is going to completely evaporate and it'll come to the forefront. It's going to start to get covered on places like CNBC and all of these mainstream media websites. That is when you'll see FOMO and retail really start to take an interest in XRP. So just simply being sued by the SEC has essentially suppressed the price of XRP. Some people think that it could be something like $10 already if it weren't for this case. So that's one of the biggest pieces of information I've seen coming from altcoin analysts pretty much in the last 2 weeks. And now some information regarding that SEC versus Ripple case. The SEC keeps stumbling over its answers and now contradicting itself. And so here is what Jeremy Hogan, who's an outside attorney covering this case, this is one of the things that he says the SEC is now doing, which is shifting their case from one point of contention to another because they realized that their original point of contention is a losing point of contention because it involves comparing Ripple to Ethereum and how Ethereum actually got a free pass. Ripple did not. And when they talk about timeframes and different things like that, they're essentially losing the battle. So they're now shifting what they're saying Ripple did wrong from having a fully built out system not in time to a decentralization. So we're going to see where that goes really soon. But here's where the conflicting information came in. Because the SEC actually told Fox Business Charles Gasparino that the reason the XRP case exists, or the reason that they're going after them, is because originally XRP didn't have a fully built out ledger at the time that they were selling XRP, which of course is not true. Then they also said that Ripple had to use the sales of XRP to actually build the ledger, which is also not true because Ripple used the venture capital to build out their products, not the sales of XRP. But then you have a conflicting answer from interrogatories that were submitted by the SEC. So Ripple had asked a series of questions that the SEC had to answer, and this was one of them. Ripple wanted to know the specific date or around the date that the SEC contends that Ripple had a fully built out ledger. Well, the SEC answered and said how and when the XRP ledger was actually fully functional is irrelevant under Howey. In other words, how they try to determine if something is a security or not. So now you can see that there's conflicting answers being given all over the place. Now, there might have been different lawyers answering the specific questions, but if that's the case, that just causes messes all over the place in the SEC's case. And as attorney Jeremy Hogan has been pointing out, things are getting very, very muddy for the SEC. So now that if you watched my video from the other day, it is becoming more and more clear that Ripple has no intention of settling with the SEC because they smell blood in the water and they see an all-out victory against the SEC coming this fall. So if you want to follow along and make sure that you don't miss any of the details that come out about that, make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell notification icon, and once again, I want to thank all my viewers for watching all the way to the end. It really helps out when you want to support a YouTube channel like this. Also, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the community tab. I put out polls up there on a weekly, sometimes daily basis. Want to know what the late night grind community thinks of all this. Don't forget to comment down below what your thoughts are. Is XRP going to 10x as soon as this SEC stuff evaporates, or is it going to take some time? All right, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.